what do you need to know about flood insurance? Hi, it's Damien Gutierrez, Damien Gutierrez Associates, Realtors-Brokered by EXP. And with the recent congressional hearings and everything with the funding and the potential looming shutdown of the government, they always talk about how flood insurance is going to go away. So a couple things you need to know about flood insurance. So real estate mortgages require flood insurance if you're in certain zones. And if you want to know if you're required to have flood insurance or not, or if a property is, you can go to the FEMA map and see. You can also call your insurance agent, or the lender can find out also about whether or not flood insurance is required. Even if it's not required, if you're in an area that has potential for flooding, I will tell you that it's a lot cheaper if you're not in the flood zone to get flood insurance. And a lot of people want to get flood insurance from the government. There are also private entities that sell flood insurance. We use My Insurance People, which is a local company here in Salem, Virginia, and CF Hogue is the insurance agent. So if you have any questions about flood insurance, you can always reach out to CF Hogue at My Insurance People. But you don't have to get the government insurance. You can do private insurance. You can do the federal insurance. If you have a mortgage and you're in a flood zone, you have to get it. If your house is paid off or you're paying cash, you don't have to, but then you do have your asset sitting out there totally uninsured. One thing to keep in mind is that the floods that happened in West Virginia, that freak flood that happened, I think it was 6, maybe 7 years ago in West Virginia, the vast majority of those houses that were destroyed, flood insurance was not required, but they still did lose their house. And so, insurance is one of those things you get because you don't intend on using it, but it's there in case you do, not because you plan on using it. And so, if you're on top of a hill, no, I wouldn't get flood insurance. But if there's a possibility of you flooding, any possibility whatsoever, it's not near as expensive if you're not in a flood zone as if you are in a flood zone. So you might want to consider it. But you don't have to get the government insurance. The government insurance does cost more because they're layering in risk from the coast and from Florida. They're trying to average everything in together, where private insurance doesn't. Private insurance kind of looks more at the risk of where you are. And so the private insurance through private companies is a lot cheaper, a lot more affordable than the FEMA insurance, but they're both out there. But if you have a mortgage, you have to have it. The other thing to keep in mind is that if you're looking at a house, let's just say you're looking at a house here in Salem, and you're approved at $200,000. If you're looking for a house in Salem, you're approved at $200,000, flood insurance gets counted in that. And so if you're approved for a $200,000 house and you have to get flood insurance, you might only now be able to buy a 160, 170, 180 house, depending on how much that flood insurance is, because it is going to raise the payment. And so that's something to consider in there on your max approval amount, is they're going to take that insurance into account. If you have any questions about flood insurance, real estate, anything, please feel free to reach out. Thank y'all. Bye.